Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to ACS Sneakers. My name is Aiden. On today's video, we are taking a look at what could turn out to be the most controversial shoe that I've ever actually reviewed. But before we dive into all of that, I want to welcome back my returning viewers. To any new viewers, welcome to the channel. We do release brand new sneaker content just like this each and every week. So do make sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, make sure the bell notification is switched on so you never miss a video. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the intro. So before we go any further with this video, like we always do on my channel, let's just take a quick look at the shoe box. Now at face value, this looks like any other bog standard cardboard box. There's no branding from Adidas or from Yeezy, and there's no actual detailing to actually reference that this is a shoe until we actually get to the side of the box. Now on the side we do have a size label which reads YEEZY Foam Runner UK size 9, also references the colourway of MXT Moon Grey, and also it does have the size label once again. Now, if we actually open up the box itself, on the very top portion of the box, you can see the word foam. I've taken out the shoes and the actual tissue paper just to make this a little bit easier. But then just underneath the word foam, we do have the word runner. And then underneath that, we do have the size label. Now, for anyone who's interested, the size label actually reads Foam Runner UK size 9, US size 9 in the MX MOGR colourway. Now the box itself is kind of interesting. I was really interested to see that the sizing of the actual shoe itself is both UK and US size 9. In my experience, whenever I've actually picked up anything Yeezy related like a 350 or even a 380, whenever I get a UK size 9, that normally equates to a US 9.5, so that was a little bit interesting. But with all that aside, if we now go ahead and jump straight into the shoes. So if we now go ahead and just jump straight into the shoe, it's really difficult for me to decide one specific place to start, so we're just going to dive straight in. The shoe itself isn't really too complicated to actually break down. The entire shoe is made from the exact same material. Now right the way throughout the shoe, we have a combination of EVA foam as well as algae based foam. Now, the reason for that is Kanye wanted to make this shoe as sustainable as possible, and using that algae-based foam really made the shoe a lot more sustainable than some of the other, foams that he could have used to actually make this shoe. But the fact that it does use algae-based foam does mean that it does have a very distinctive smell. It's not necessarily a bad smell, and even at this radius, I can't really smell it. But if you go in close and have a sniff, it's kind of distinctive, to be completely honest. I imagine that over time that smell's going to kind of dissipate and fade away. And it's like I say, it's not the biggest problem in the world, but it's just something that's worth mentioning. Now the shoe itself does have a really good structure to it. So towards the actual heel portion, it's really stiff. Not stiff in the way that it would be uncomfortable, but it just offers a really good structure to the shoe. Towards the forefoot of the shoe, we do have more of that really good structure as well. It's not necessarily as pliable as what we then see in the midfoot. As you can see in the midfoot, it kind of just wilts in on itself. Not in a necessarily bad way, but it basically means that the forefoot and heel, there's a lot of good structure. And then around the actual center of the shoe where you actually put your feet into it, it's a lot more pliable and flexible and just effectively a lot easier to wear. Now, as you can see, right the way throughout the shoe, we do actually have these perforations. Now, they're not just there for aesthetics, they do actually serve a functional purpose. Now, during the manufacturing process, as I mentioned, this is a complete one-piece construction. These little perforations right the way throughout the lateral side, over the toe, and on the medial side as well, they're all there to actually allow the shoe to bend and just go with your natural foot movement. And that way it's not going to put too much stress on any specific part of the shoe. The two big perforations towards the actual heel portion of the upper, they actually are very similar to what you might see on the 700 midsole. And if you do actually have both the Foam Runner as well as the 700, if you do put them up close or, look at them up close, even on pictures, you can definitely see that this is inspired by the 700. Now, the actual perforations that we see on the lateral side of the shoe mirror exactly the same as what we see on the medial side, whereas if we actually take a look at the forefoot perforations, it's very different and really hard to describe exactly what they look like. Kind of in like a bit of more of a wavy like pattern, but in general the perforations add that additional airflow into the shoe. So if you are planning on wearing something like this throughout like the summer months or the spring months, you're going to get a lot of ventilation into your feet. If I do see anybody wearing these without socks, I'll be honest, I'll be unfriending every single person. Please wear socks with these.
Alrighty then.
Now the actual colorway is probably the most polarizing thing about the entire shoe. Now, if we do take a look at the uppers of the shoe, we do actually have this marbled effect. Now, towards the front end of the shoe, we do have that really nice grey colour. Towards the midfoot, we actually have that marbling where we have a combination of both the grey and tan colours. And then as we head further back the shoe towards the heel, we do have a kind of more of the tan than grey, but once again, it does feature that marbled element to it. I really do like the colourway, and I feel like it is probably the best of the foam runners in terms of the actual colourway. All of them are going to be eye-catching, and they're all going to grab attention. But I definitely feel like if you are looking for one to actually be a statement piece more than just the actual silhouette, I definitely feel like this is going to be the one to go for. Another thing that I do actually think is worth mentioning about the shoe itself is that the actual colorway is going to be different every single time around. Because of this marbling effect that they've actually done on the shoe, even both the left and the right shoe are kind of different. Not immediately different in the way that like they look like they don't belong to one another. It almost gives it a one-of-one effect, and it kind of gives you that your own shoe effectively. And you know, there's always going to be slightly different color combinations. The greys are going to be slightly different in terms of how it mixes with the actual tan color. Overall, they're going to look very similar anyway. You know, you could have 5 different pairs, but they are going to look slightly different on each individual pair. One thing I was actually really concerned about when it comes to this shoe is actually the ankle opening. Now, based on, you know, what I saw online, I kind of figured that this entire portion of the shoe would be really stiff and really rigid, but you can actually really spread that quite wide. And even with a foot as wide as mine, I'd have absolutely no issue at all getting my foot into this shoe. So I really do like the fact that it's so easy and so casual to wear, and the fact that it stretches so wide. Even if you're a wide footer like me, you shouldn't have any issues at all with this shoe. But if we then go ahead and actually dive into the actual inside of the shoe itself, now instead of having the normal distinguishable insole, what it actually has is these little grooves right the way throughout, I believe what they call as a footbed. I'm not sure exactly what the technical term is for it, but effectively these grooves actually compress and help lock in your feet. So that way the shoe pretty much helps stay in exactly where it's supposed to be and your foot's not sliding around. As you can see, there's no lacing option, there's no way to actually tighten the fit. So the actual sizing of this is really important. Now, it doesn't come in half sizes according to what I've been able to find online. So in that situation, I would recommend just going with your natural full true to size fit. You can always go a full size down, but I really wouldn't recommend it. In a shoe like this, you kind of want it to be a little bit more slack and you want to wear it kind of more casually. It would be my opinion to just go with your normal true to size fit. But if we then just swing over to the outsole of the shoe, here we have that herringbone traction pattern with more of that marbled colour. Underneath the heel portion, we do have the Adidas branding, which is really small to be completely honest. And this is actually one of the only places on the entire shoe where the Adidas branding is featured. I think we've just about covered everything that I can possibly think of in terms of the actual overall review and what I feel like is worth mentioning. So just to wrap up this video and give you guys my overall opinion on the shoe itself, in terms of rating, I was really struggling to actually give a definitive rating to this shoe because it really depends on what you define this shoe as. If this is a croc, a sandal, a sneaker, depending on, you know, how you see it will ultimately decide how you decide to actually rate the shoe against, say, other things on the market. But realistically, there's nothing else on the market even remotely similar to this. And on the back of that, I'd say that in terms of my overall rating on the actual shoe itself, I'd probably give this a really solid 7 out of 10. The materials are really nice under hand. Besides the kind of off smell to it, it's kind of, you know, a really interesting design. It's really pushing the boundaries of what you'd expect a company like Adidas to do. And you really can't argue with the fact that they're going with, you know, wanting to make the shoe outlandish, a statement piece, but also environmentally friendly. So I think a 7 out of 10 is a pretty good score for this shoe. I'd love to know your overall rating as well, so do make sure to leave me a comment in the comment section below. If you stuck around to this point in the video, I want to say a massive thank you. Do make sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Do also make sure that bell notification is switched on so you never miss a video, and I hope to see you all again in the next one.